Hey, my name's Bob, and I want to share with you how to find and identify valuable used books to sell online. So if you're watching this video, you're probably an online bookseller. You probably go to library sales, Goodwill, just anywhere you can find books, and you probably scan all the books. You probably literally scan all the books. And I think that that's a very bad idea. I think that you should really only use the scanner once you've picked out a few books, just to confirm at the end that they're worth money. When I go to library sales, I don't scan every book. In fact, I kind of just look at the shelves, look at the titles, look for little clues to see if it's a book that I want to scan. And then I'll take it off the shelf and I'll look at it more closely. And when I look at it closely, I'll scan the barcode and I'll use the different scanning apps that everyone uses. But I also do more investigative work if there is no barcode. So an example of one of these books that I'm talking about is a book that I sold the other day for $200, $198 really. And I bought this book for $2 at a library book sale. And it's this book right here. It's called A Testament of Alchemy. And as you can see, there's no barcode. And I found this book at a book sale that I showed up to about 3 or 4 hours late. And when I got there, there were a ton of other booksellers who were there scanning everything. They had actually already scanned everything. I mean, they probably got there when the sale opened. And they did have some box of stuff that they had found. Obviously, they probably got low-hanging fruit type stuff, but they were just kind of grinding it out. I mean, from what I could see in their boxes, they were kind of grinding it out with these piddly little, ooh, you spend like $1 to profit $2, $3 kinds of books. Which, it's cool, you can do that, but that's not what I would recommend to do, or what I really do myself. And these are the kind of books that I'm looking for and that I know to pick up because I'm looking for niche nonfiction. I'm not looking for novels or fiction, really. I'm looking for niche nonfiction, academic titles in certain categories. And this book, it has the word alchemy in the title, which I know is it falls under the umbrella of sort of like magical things, I guess you could say, or perhaps the occult, really, is kind of like the biggest category. So it'd be like occult, magic, witchcraft, astrology, like spirituality. There's all kind of subcategories even within those. Sometimes when I go to sales, they won't have specific shelves or categories for those categories or subcategories. They'll usually put it under the religion section, or maybe even the New Age section or spirituality. So what I do is I go and I find the religion section, the spirituality section, and I'm looking for occult books. And I really take my time when I do this. This is the first section that I go to. And when I went to this particular sale, there were a lot of valuable books in that section where I found this one. And they probably all came from the same collection of the person who donated. And when I saw this on the shelf, I knew to look at it because it had alchemy in the title, like I was saying. But then on the spine, it also has the publisher. It had the publisher. And if you look at this one, you can see that it says Brandeis. And Brandeis is a college in Massachusetts. It's where I'm from. And a lot of these colleges, these universities, they have their own presses. They publish their own books. So you'd want to look for the names of different colleges on spines, on different books. Obviously, Oxford and Cambridge, those are from England. Those are kind of like the heavy hitters ones. But also maybe even like Harvard University Press, MIT University Press, which a lot of those books don't even say MIT Press. They just have a particular logo on them, so you want to look for the logo. But you want to kind of hone in on the academic university press type books. So when I picked up this book, there's no barcode. I couldn't scan the barcode. There are ISBN codes on the back, but these are not for this particular book. They're for other books that they're advertising from the same press. So I think a lot of booksellers, even if they pick this one up, if they were really just in a rush or they were lazy or they only want to scan the barcodes, they wouldn't even bother to look more closely. But that's not what I do. I work very slowly, methodically, very carefully. I just try to get in the zone when I'm looking at the books and just kind of zero in on like the real high value titles. So in this case, I took my time, I opened up the book and I looked to see if there was an ISBN code on the copyright page. Which there is. And you can see that right here. And if you scan that code with the ISBN box scanner code thing in Scout IQ, you can get the result. It's the same thing as scanning the barcode. And as you can see, this particular title, it's a high money book, and it also has a very high ranking. And a lot of people will be scared away from the high ranking, even if it was not as valuable as this particular one is. But personally, I have no problem selling those long tail, high ranking books. I think it's definitely worth it to sell those. A lot of people think that you should only sell high velocity books, that is books that sell very quickly, like a high turnover rate. That's probably true if you're only doing FBA, but I think you're gonna lose out on a lot of value if you don't look at high value books. And I have sold many books that are above even like 10 million in ranking. And the thing is, like, these books do eventually sell. I've seen crazy books that they've sold. They all eventually sell, unless it's like a calendar or like a very outdated textbook that's totally no one's gonna be interested in. The books do sell. So it's worth it to do merchant fulfill. It's worth it to sell these super valuable type books. And if the book didn't have an ISBN code printed on it anywhere that you could scan, you can also use the Amazon Seller app to kind of scan the cover of the book. Whether it picks up the text or just the pictures on the cover, it's pretty effective. It's worth doing. Obviously, you need to be in a place where you have Wi-Fi, otherwise you can't do that. But that's something that I do on these kinds of books frequently. I use that function because I really believe that a lot of the valuable books, maybe most of the really money books, don't have barcodes. So it's worth checking those out. You want to seek those out. You want to take the time to dig them up. If you think about it, I mean, selling a single book for $200, the amount of work that takes compared to selling, I don't know how many few dozen books where you don't really make a lot on it. You got to think about how much time and how much work and how much energy that takes and what it's really worth. Really, I believe in it so much that I really think that it's safe to say that scanning every book is insane. I think it's totally crazy. I think it totally defeats the purpose of the book selling thing. In my mind, obviously, the big thing about the book selling is that the books are abundant, they're plentiful, they're free a lot of times, which is a whole different thing I could talk about. Or they're very cheap and it's just like a crazy flip. But the thing is, most books are not worth really anything or a lot as far as money value for reselling online. And the other thing that I think that's really great about the used book selling thing is that aside from the books being plentiful and cheap or even free, is that you're not trading time for money. If you know what to look for and if you can find and identify these really high value gems, as it were, you could be making hundreds, thousands, you can make a lot in just like an hour or two's time. But I don't think that's gonna happen if you scan every single book. I think it's gonna happen if you learn what to look for, if you know books, and you kind of zero in on where the value is. And that's what I'm gonna share on this channel. And if you wanna learn more, if you think what I was saying was valuable in this video, I'd ask you to please subscribe. And I'm going to post videos in the future that go into more detail about how to identify these books, what they look like on the shelves, what kind of subject matter that you want to be looking for, little hidden things, because they're out there. They are out there. And I have shown up to a number of other library sales late. I've gone to weird places. Sometimes I've even come away with only one book or less than half a dozen books at any given time. But They are out there, you can find them, and I want to share with you how to find them.